Thoughts, views, and opinions we're throwing out here are purely for your entertainment. This podcast is all about keeping it real and amusing. We engage in discussions and games with fantastic guests, covering everything from social and political issues to spirituality and beyond. However, let's be clear, it's all for the sake of entertainment. Some info might be true, some might be, well, a bit of creative storytelling. And just so we're on the same page, don't even consider attempting any of this at home. We might be trained in the art of wild entertainment, but looking out for your best interest? No, not our thing, or our own for that matter. So, fasten your seatbelts for the wild ride.
You are now tuned into the Ghetto Games Podcast.
Welcome to the Ghetto Games Podcast.
It's your girl, Nasty Nova.
Hey y'all, it's your girl Sassy Bree.
Bambina here.
And it's your girl, Chelsea G.
Ow. So what we were talking about prior to the cameras rolling is narcissists and how this is like a buzzword in our generation. And so we really want to unpack this in our experiences with what we think might be narcissists. But before we do, we are going to break down what a narcissist is and what are narcissistic type traits. Take it away.
So, narcissism is extreme self-involvement to the degree that it makes a person ignore the needs of those around them. While everyone may show occasional narcissistic behavior, true narcissists frequently disregard others or their feelings. They also do not understand the effect that their behavior has on other people. And I believe that is the problem for those who are unaware of what they're doing, because they have not, no one has really understood it. No one has pointed it out. And so it's become a behavior that's continuous without regard.
Yeah.
So when do you feel like you learned about narcissism or narcissistic behavior?
As far as putting a name on it, I'll say it's probably been within the last couple of years.
I agree.
And then of course, as I go back and I think about situations that I've been in, it's like, oh, bitch, you was not crazy. Like, this is really what was happening, type thing.
I agree 100%. I really don't have too much to add, but it's funny because I have experienced things and I realized that, like you said, later, now looking back, I'm like, oh, that was wild. Like, that was really all about that person, and they really could care less about what I felt. And, my feelings just didn't have the same energy or warrant the same as theirs. And within that narcissism, I think there's a lot of another buzzword, which is like gaslighting, because narcissists make you feel like you're crazy about how you feel. So, yeah.
You ever felt like you were crazy for how you felt?
Yeah, 100%.
Have you ever made anybody else feel like they were crazy for the way that you felt?
I'm quite sure I have.
I don't put too much value into other people. I just see it from flashes of it. I don't put myself personally in those situations.
You might be the narcissist by definition.
You feel like you don't put yourself
joking.
in those situations
like
because majority of the time people don't ask or they're not looking for
what I was going to say is I see things and I just silently remove myself from them.
Okay, so you're able to identify narcissistic behavior
and manipulation tactics from afar.
Which manipulation is behavior or
Correct.
narcissism.
Like my mother, she was very manipulative. So she can make something sound so good, and it's total opposite. It's not.
Are you able to give an example
Yeah,
of what you mean?
like for those who aren't aware.
It doesn't have to specifically be your mom, but anytime
I tell Bam she's manipulative all the time. She'll say, oh, I want to do this, but it would be for her being, I can't even give an example right now that I'm thinking about it. But Bam does be having manipulative tactics. There's been times where she'll ask me to do something, I say no, and then she'll have pushback, and it kind of be making sense. But I'll still say no, because it really wouldn't be what I wanted to do. That's just a wider broad, because me and Bam have already talked about this. And when I told her she was manipulative, she got offended.
Yes. So I do want to say this. The conversation that she's referring to, we had probably a couple years ago during COVID. And it was hard for me to hear because, again, as I just said, I feel like, oh God, I've been trying to please everybody. So I can't be manipulative. But That's just not true. Definitely, I was able to. I wasn't trying to hear it when we had the conversation, but once I removed myself from the conversation and really took thoughts into it, I realized, okay, there are some times where I have either tried to manipulate someone with guilt or different things, and it's not appropriate. It's not okay to do. So I've had to unlearn a lot of those behaviors, and because now I recognize them within myself, I seek them a mile away when people do them to me. And the truth is, the reason why I was doing them so unbeknownst to me was because people have been doing them to me for years, and they were just learned behaviors, right? So like people I was in relationships with, significant others, but specifically my parents.
Can you like give like examples of like after you later learned what narcissist, like what's an example of what that looks like?
So for instance, my mom, as you guys know, has been an addict, all my life. And so my mom might say something like, you should love me no matter, what I'm doing, and you should accept me. And those kind of things. And it's very manipulative because she knows that she's pulling on my heartstrings. She knows, but ultimately she's not trying to make changes in her life, but she wants me to accept her where she is. And there is some validity to that. I think you do have to just accept people where they are, but it was almost like she was trying to manipulate my behaviors and my actions. Tell me she was doing one thing and then she does something else, or, she would utilize to get something she wanted. She's telling me this is what this is. But in reality, she's just trying to get to point B, which has nothing to do with point A, as she said to me. So I there's so many incidents like this, but one that I'll think about is basically we like spent this whole day together, and I was showering her with things. And because prior to that, it's been all about, so basically, just to give you some background, my grandmother raised me. She got custody of me when I was 9 years old. And my mother has always blamed our distance on my grandmother, if that makes sense. Oh, mommy didn't allow me. Mommy took you away from me. Mommy did all these things, and that's why I couldn't be a mother to you. And I believed it. Even though I would see her I would see her decisions she was making, but I believed that literally until like 5 years ago, which is crazy, right? Because I was like, this lady never had the opportunity, so much that, and that carried us for years, me being reheard and reintroduced to abandonment and all these things. Of course, the behavior showed me for years that wasn't the case, but I believed her, right? Because she was manipulating me based on that. When my grandmother passed away and she had this opportunity to step in, we're talking, my grandmother passed away, 2012? Mm-hmm. My mother, it's 2023 now. And she's come to live with me in that time. She's had multiple overdoses. She's smoked crack in my house. She's literally overdosed in my house, had to put her on a gurney to get her to the hospital. And within all that, I was able to and I still was like, oh, well, she just doesn't have a chance. And it literally has taken me until recently. We had a conversation and she was just like, I can't get it together. Like, there's so many kids, like she always says this, like, how do you still interact with me? How do you still look at me? For my friends that have done even a quarter of what I've done to you, they don't even look at their parents. They would spit on their parent. They wouldn't even spit on them if they were on fire. And, I just think that within that whole, that's also like a manipulation thing. So within that whole thing, but it would be what I would say because everything's about her. It's really about her comfort. It's really about how she's perceived. She wants to control that narrative. I don't know if she's aware, but she's definitely taking advantage.
So what about like in your relationship? How would you tie what you learned from your mom's, from the trauma from your mom's narcissistic abuse? How would you relate that to your relationships?
Also, like in my dad too, just them feeling entitled to me because I'm their child, even though they didn't take care of me. And me really having this feeling like I need to do this because yes, I'm their child and I need to work at this.
How does
But
that
for my
evolve into
relationships,
your
no, I'm about to
relationship?
tell
Yeah.
you. I'm about to tell you. So there are two things. One, people could guilt trip me and I would give in. They could make me feel bad about whatever I was doing, whatever decision I wanted to make, and I would give in. So that's why that behavior a lot of times would be also exhibited onto other people, because it's like, I'm having to do it, you should too. That was the ideology why I was that way. So for instance, in a relationship, I can recall like even this happening with my last relationship with Kim, like where I may have a outing with my girlfriends and she's at the house. So she's like, oh, you're going to leave me home all by myself to go. And I would stay. That's what I mean. That's how it relates. And also just like in general, like just doing things you don't want to do because someone is manipulating you. Thank you for asking, Chelsea. So what about you, as far as how, you've been affected by narcissism at all or childhood trauma?
I don't know so much that I've been affected in my childhood trauma with narcissism. I would feel like I feel as though it's something that I've learned as an adult, like something I may have been like not aware and been more so naive in the past, where like one that was that was narcissistic or showed narcissistic traits was easily able to use me as a target and able to manipulate me and able to, I was the victim of the narcissistic behavior because I was unaware. I did not know how to defend myself, did not know how to stand up for myself, so as an adult, I've learned, what those behaviors are. I've learned, and that's through healing, that's through therapy, learning what those things look like. Things like shutting down or somebody over talking me in an argument to try to make their point more important than my point. That is like my red flag of noticing things of like narcissistic behavior.
Well, do you know how to, before you say that, do you know how to lead in the situation better than the person that's talking to you?
Now, but I haven't always. Now I've learned to lead and how to use my own power to overcome, when one was trying to manipulate me in situations or make
Like,
me
what's
feel
an
less
example?
than.
What's an example? Because I'm thinking like a man just trying to lead a woman can kind of seem narcissistic, but it's actually just a man being a man in a man's place.
Or me expressing myself for something that's bothering me and you belittling my feelings.
Okay.
As if what I'm feeling isn't valid or there's no way that I can feel that way because
Okay.
that's not what you want me to believe, but that's what you're doing. But because I have less knowledge and because I'm unaware or because I'm naive, then you try to manipulate me to believe that what you are telling me is what it is, and what I feel and what I believe is not what it is.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, that gaslighting
That's
is
not
heavy.
It's real.
Very real.
I was just trying to think of how it would affect me in my relationships. To be honest, I don't even think it's narcissistic traits. I think it's just more of a survival thing. Like, I will not allow myself to put myself into somebody else's hands. I've done it before. I've let my guard down and took years to clean up. If I'm going to basically, whatever I come with, you can come with it too. Or a little bit of piece of it. You should be a self-starter. I shouldn't have to motivate you, same way you wouldn't have to motivate me type. So maybe I will be a narcissist.
Yeah, because as for me, I feel like I have the desire to want to be in somebody else's hands. I don't have the desire of wanting to always be like having to defend me or having to lead me all the time. I want to be
trust
submissive.
that
I
you
want to
can.
be able to trust. So I
Yeah.
feel like
Well, that's not my role in a relationship, though.
That's not whose role?
My role. As
To
a
lead?
masculine woman.
To lead?
To
Well,
know,
maybe
to follow.
Okay, I understand what you're saying.
I don't.
So you know how you're a feminine woman and you date men and they're masculine?
For your situation, yes.
Yeah.
For in your situation, yes. That's not your role. But for me and my role, I feel like I want to, in order for me to be submissive, I have to be willing to submit and to give myself to another person for that other person to lead me. I feel like narcissistic trauma and trauma from past relationships has interfered with that. It has made me put up a guard to where I know I still have a desire to want someone to lead me, but when I'm thinking that I'm being led, or at one point when I thought that I was being led, I was really naive and just unaware. So now that I'm aware, it's just like I'm pinpointing and noticing things right off of the bat to where manipulation isn't even possible. I spot it when I see it. So, and it's narcissistic traits is pretty much in everyone. It's not something that's, one person has that's bad, but we all have it. If stuff don't go our way or how we believe that it should go, we act a certain way. We respond a certain way. So we all have that. But in order for me to be the feminine woman and for me to have someone to lead me, I feel like I have to be in a certain, like I have to allow that. And I don't know what have to happen for me to allow that. I think the main thing for me would be trust. Like I have to feel that you're coming from a genuine place. Like you're not self-centered. You're not trying to run me. You're not trying to. That has to be made clear. Yeah,
it's about us.
It's about us.
Because this is and also I do agree that we all have narcissistic traits, but there is a diagnosis of narcissistic personality disorder, and that is someone who is consumed by those traits and they live their life to persuade, and push people to do all the things that they want to do and they don't consider. And it is like this vindictive space behind it, regardless if they know or not, but it's truly all about their benefit, all about what they can get out of it.
Like like transactional relationships, like only making relationships to benefit you, and if it isn't benefiting you, then to hell with you.
Yes. Facts. I agree. That's a good example. Yeah.
So that's definitely it.
Yeah, and then you have in relationships like temper tantrums.
Yes.
Temper tantrums is also a behavior, a narcissistic behavior. If something isn't going off, then you throw like a child.
Not dealing with it.
Right. No, I agree. I've been in that space before. Again, like I said, when you're emotionally, you don't know how to regulate your emotions, that's also related to narcissistic, which is about trauma, because you never had anybody to, and by anybody, what I'm talking about are your initial caregivers, the people who are absolutely supposed to nurture you, who are supposed to soothe you. If for instance, a baby cries, a parent should go and attend or see what they have going on. So just imagine that baby is crying for months, never getting that attendance. They grow up in that environment where they're never getting what they need. When they get older, they're trying to find a way to make sure their needs are met, and it can go to the extreme.
They do whatever to get it.
Exactly. And it can show up in different ways for different people, but it can be really, really bad. It can be dangerous.
Belittling is also a narcissistic behavior. Like if one person isn't doing, and I feel like I've experienced that, I've been felt like if I wasn't doing exactly what that person was doing, then I wasn't doing enough, or I wasn't doing the right thing. I just wasn't good enough because I wasn't following or doing the same thing that person was doing.
How did that make you feel?
Less than.
It
made me, I wouldn't say it made me depressed, but I say it made me want to disconnect more and maybe try to figure out what exactly it is. For me, it was more so motivation, more so than letting it to depress me. For someone who might interpret it or handle it differently, it's easy for someone to get depressed, and that state for someone is belittling them and making them feel less than. But for me, it was more so like, no, this is this is your path. It's not a path meant for me to follow, and I have my own path, and I just need to figure out what my path is.
It's
Yeah.
intense.
That was really well said, though.
And I feel
Okay.
like once you figure out that your path is not like everybody else's path, life gets so much better.
Mm-hmm.
Like life gets so much better. Like if social media can trigger you to a point where you're just like,
Yeah, you need to take a step
you
back.
got to, and not even just a step back, just like look at yourself. Like, why do I feel like I'm not good enough for whatever the fuck I'm looking at? That I can't have it.
Yeah.
Tight. Like a lot of people, me just being social, it bothers them.
Really?
Yeah, like my bubbly personality sometimes when I'm outside having fun, not doing this. Not,
so
I'm not, I mean
stupid.
like not.
No, I know what you mean.
Not like
Outside of
podcasting.
this.
Outside of this, like,
Yeah. No, I get it.
it's like some people just feel like I don't give enough. I don't tell enough. It's like a secret, kind of.
That's
but
very
but I'm still
interesting.
like very personable.
Because of your online presence
I
and the way
guess.
that you present.
Yeah.
People have to understand social media is not real.
Like,
it is
niggas
just
be, like, hit me up,
highlights.
like, what's going on with you? I'm like,
of your
bitch, I'm
life.
working.
Highlights of what people choose to
Yeah,
show.
I could show
And
you a
it's
trip
not
I was
what
on 4
reality really
4 weeks ago
is.
and posted today. That doesn't mean I'm there.
At
Like,
this moment.
yes, that's interesting. Like, so what? If you don't mind, if it's not too personal, what type of things do people bring to you and say?
They want podcast conversations on the side. Like I got it. Like I got the energy to do that with them. To dissertation, to have some type of dissertation about stuff.
about whatever you're doing, your daily,
Yeah.
and they feel entitled to that information.
Yes.
That's narcissistic for sure.
Like, yo,
Like
you,
it's a trait. I'm not
you
saying
don't be on
that.
Instagram like that. You don't do your YouTube no more.
No.
You
Are they fans or are they like
these are
people
I
who are trying to
know.
get friends? That's
These are
what I'm
people
at.
I
Okay,
know.
because and by fans I mean viewers, people who enjoy your content.
These
Are they?
people I know that are just like, what's up? What's going on with
Do you
you?
think that's because
They
they're trying
want
to
to
be
know.
nosy?
They want to know what's going on with you, or they're like showing interest and wanting to be like a guest
Right.
on the pod.
No, they want to know what's going on with me.
Okay,
Like the private.
like trying to
section.
get into. Okay, interesting. Bree, you haven't said a lot.
I've just been listening. I guess my first, I didn't really experience narcissism, or at least what I don't think growing up. I don't remember a whole lot of things growing up, but that wasn't the first experience. Mine was my last relationship, was where I first experienced it. But I also feel like the reason why the person could, kind of, because I'm one of those people too that feel like I want to be like I know my role. I'm very submissive, and I'm okay with someone leading me that knows how to lead. But I also feel like at that time I was very dependent. So like when you're dependent on somebody, you're not really making your own money, or whatever's happening.
Yes,
you
ma'am.
you will be subjected to that, and you're gonna fall for it. And so and it's crazy because when I look at my parents, and not to say that my dad was like trying to be manipulative to my mom, but he was always a breadwinner. She never had to be, So like a lot of decisions he would make without really having a big
Consulting
conversation
to
with
her.
her. Yeah. And so now those
With
things
her.
are coming out because she's now she's want to express it, but he doesn't get it because you never talked about it in that time. But because of that, I had to become independent. Like I was like, I refuse to continue to let somebody try to control me, if that makes, like, I still want you to be able to lead, but it has to make sense. And it don't have to be, I make more than you or you make more than me. It's just, having that mindset and knowing what to do with that mindset. And so that's the reason why I had to, like, once I realized what was going on, and again, I knew that something was happening because I felt like I was going crazy with a lot of shit. Like, it would be stuff like, her ex needed something, and she would look out for the ex, and then the ex would like reach out to me, like letting me know that my ex had interacted with her. And then when I go to you to talk to you about it, it's like, well, I was trying to look out for them, and I didn't feel like
a
you
bad
should
person.
let me handle it, like that type of thing. And it's like, nah, nigga, like at the end of the day, whether you leading or not, we're partners. So if you looking out for somebody, I need to know what's happening. Like, nobody should be able to come to me and tell me what's going on with you, type thing.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So that's how and I mean, it was like, it got bad for me. And of course, like I said, even with like lying and stuff like that, it's like the reason why I lied is because of, like, it ain't no fucking reason. Like, why are you lying? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
you know.
100%.
So that was probably my first And again, I was in a situation where I felt like I was dependent on her. So it was kind of like, okay, Bree, do you tolerate it? Do you not? And then it was like, you know what? Fuck this. Like,
Did you ask this person, like when you saw things happening, did you like question it in the moment, or did you wait until you realized like something just didn't seem right?
Nah. So I'm the type of person that if I come to you with something, I've done the research. I got the
receipts.
screens. I got everything. So if I come to you asking you about it, go ahead and be honest, because I already got everything I need. I'm just trying to see now at this point what you gonna do. So the fact that I gotta pull out the receipts and lay them on the table for you to admit, it's just like, why the fuck did I have to do that? Like, this happens all the time, and I've clearly always had to show you, you know, what it was. It's like, why are you still lying to me? Why are you still like? I'll give you an example. I used to work at Foot Locker, and I used to get discounts, you know, 50% off.
Oh shit!
And so we used to,
that's a big discount.
well, let me say this: we used to get 30% off, but they would have friends and family
weekends.
for 50. Yeah. So this particular weekend, Chelsea about to get me. This particular weekend, I had gotten, there was these New Balances I wanted that were going to be like $20, right? So my ex goes to buy another pair of the New Balances, but gets a smaller size than me. Now, mind you, me and her wear the same size. I already know what, and then sometimes she used to try to wear bigger shoes to make it look like her feet was big. So I already know you. Like, I already know who you are, and I've been around you long enough. So I'm like, well, who are you getting them shoes for? For me, because I'm going to get out and start walking and doing stuff. And I already knew that was bullshit. I was like, ain't no fucking way you getting these little ass shoes to get out and start walking. It don't make sense.
Did you believe it?
Hell no. So,
Because what does walking have to do with your shoes being small?
you know what I'm saying?
Your feet
So,
ain't fucking swole, bitch.
listen.
Narcissists would say anything.
So I'm asking. So, you know, I inquired about it. I was like, all right, cool. I don't got the proof right now, but I'm gonna get that motherfucking proof. Sure enough, at this, and then it is how you know you don't need to be in a type of relationship. I'm now stalking pages at this point to kind of figure out stuff. Long story short, just like her ex would normally do.
You were stalking the ex's page?
Well, to see about these shoes because I knew they were hers. So yes,
Yeah,
I
her
was. I was
spirit.
stalking the shit out of that
It was
page.
in
So
her
it's
because I already
making you
knew.
feel crazy.
Making me feel crazy.
Because
You
you like,
having
why
to do
would
research
what
on
would be the
something that
reason
you
why
already
you would buy
felt
these shoes?
was dumb and stupid.
So sure enough, the ex, like she do with everything, post everything. So she posted them. Shout out to whoever ever for getting me these shoes for school. And I'm like, if you felt, and this is my thing, I'm not about, if somebody doesn't have it, even if that's like your ex or whatever, I'm not gonna be like, well, it don't matter if they don't have it, you know, like that's not the type of person I am. But if you do shit behind my back, at that point I don't give a fuck whether they have it or not. So my thing is, why didn't you tell me that she needed shoes and she couldn't afford them? I don't know that I would have been okay with it, but at least you let me make that decision versus you making it for me.
Right.
So now I don't trust you.
Right.
Shit like, I could go on for days, so we'll just leave it there. But it's just, you know,
That's a good example.
that was my initiation into, I guess if you want to call it that, into the narcissistic world, because I had never known what that looked like before then, and it was a draining ass situation
That shit took
because
you by
I didn't know.
whirlwind?
What? I mean, smack the shit out of me. You know, and I used to say this, and I don't know if this is good to say or not, but I used to be like, I would have never let a guy play me like that. And she
No,
played
dead ass.
the entire shit out of me.
I've been
said
there,
the same
girl.
thing
I
when
me
I was
too.
with a girl. I said the same thing. I'm
Me
like,
too.
if she gonna play me the same way or try to play me the same way like a man would, what am I
Why
standing
am I-
this for?
exactly, what am I doing?
dealing with? Why?
Like-
Why? It ain't that good.
No.
What is it bringing?
I think everything
good with
happens for a
nobody.
reason.
Oh yeah,
It does.
absolutely.
Isn't that good?
I agree.
Because now you know what you can deal with, what you can't deal with.
Yeah.
Which you will, yeah.
What you will deal with.
You see signs.
Right.
Yeah, but to deal with a narcissist, I feel like narcissists learn your personality so much that it makes a person that's empathetic, a person that's very caring. It makes a person that's very like showing you unconditional love. It makes it feel as if y'all are soulmate type of like because it's kind of what that other person wants for you to learn. So when
can't
you
live
do
without me.
when
Yep.
you
That's-
can't live
oh
with
my
my and
God.
you would never find anything better. That's another thing that narcissists
Yes.
will put on you.
Yes,
you,
they
You
will.
would never find anything better than me.
That is
It's
very
not going to get
common.
any better. No one will ever love you as much as I do, and it makes you think that that's true because they are
100%.
truly really loving you. Like they they understand you. They know the ins
Yes.
and out of you. They know everything about you.
Yeah,
So
they know how to study that
they
ass.
they study you, but they study you to manipulate you in a way that they
Yep.
can't have you best. So what they're doing is they're learning what makes you happy. They're learning what type of reaction, what lie can you buy at that moment, not questioning about without getting caught. Like they try to learn every little thing. So when they do something wrong, they know how to reel you back in to get on their good side. When they do you wrong, they know how to what it's going to take to win you back over. How many times can I do this, or what can I say? So in the moment where you're trying to defend yourself, they don't like that.
Yeah.
It's
They
almost
confuse
as if,
you a
like,
lot
you
too.
caught on, like you caught on.
Yeah.
You caught on to what I was doing. Now who's gonna be my next victim?
Oh man.
Which bring me to my next point. So what are some like red flags now that you've learned, like in relationships that were kind of minor at the time, or like you had to ask questions but you already knew at the time but realized later that it was narcissistic behavior, or like something like they were really trying to play you for their best benefit while making you feel stupid, or like you already knew something but they try to make it seem like when you brought it to their attention like it was nothing when you addressed it.
How they take care of themselves without you. What does your world look? What does their world look like without you anywhere near it? What did I walk upon? I met you today. What do you have that you need assistance with, and how are you going to try to get it from me?
That's how you look
that's how I
at.
started.
So when they come into a situation and they kind of need immediately, or something pops up,
Something
or
pops up.
immediate.
Oh, my cell phone bills due. Absolutely not. How was your
It's a
cell
red
phone bill
flag.
paid before
Okay.
I even met?
Yeah. 100%.
100% honesty and transparency. I noticed that girls that are honest up front are much relaxed because they don't have to worry about keeping up the
Keeping
lie.
up with a lie.
That's true.
Like when they be like, I just want to be honest with you, this, that, and third. I'll take
You
that.
can handle that. Yeah.
I'd rather you tell me you got a machine in your car than try to kick it to me like,
Just tell
hold
the
on real quick,
truth.
somebody calling me. You see what I'm saying?
Screaming.
I'd rather you do that.
Hold on, who did?
Word.
Don't worry about all that. Just know I'd rather that
We
honest.
might have
worry
a deep
about
dive into that later.
Okay.
Okay. Shit.
That's
Not let me call you back.
No, hold on. Somebody calling me, and then you hear the motherfucker beeping off in the back.
right.
Because they got to start the car.
Yeah.
That's deep. I would say for me, it's more of one thing that pops, or one red flag for me is, how do I put this? Offering up information, or like trying to
over explain.
yeah, or set the stage, if that makes sense. So for example, another situation, you tell me, oh, I gotta work in this particular county, I'm going to be staying overnight here. No, it was something about like either way, it was like, let me give you this story, but it was more so a story so you don't have to tell me the truth of what actually was getting ready to happen,
Yeah.
if that makes sense.
Yeah,
Let
So
setting
me
it up.
make it seem like this.
Yeah.
So that you
Yeah.
won't even have
So
to
you won't
think about
question.
exactly. So
what
I won't
actually
call
is
you
about
during
to
that
happen.
time because you
course.
done already set the stage for this, but you're not really doing this. You're doing that.
Right.
That's how I now it's like, okay, like that whole, well, I may not be able to, like, that's bullshit. Like, you know, I won't be able to answer. I won't be able to,
Nah.
you got some shit with you.
Yeah.
And I see it.
100%. 100%.
So now when it comes to you, you're able to like realize like you gave me too much detail.
Yeah, I didn't need to know. And I
It
say that.
wasn't-
I didn't even know all of that at this point. That's what I say.
Oh, yeah. When you
that's
give me too
right.
much detail, I know.
Too,
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's
It's
way
too
too much
much.
detail.
Yeah.
Like
It's
I
too
didn't,
much.
and some the narcissist when you address it right in that moment,
Oh, God.
they might think and look as it like, well, these were actually like details that applied when really it's really irrelevant to the person that you're sharing it with. I didn't need to know the extra details. Like just tell me where you're at. I don't even know who you with. I never met him. Stuff that I see that I observed where I knew I wasn't crazy but later learned as far as like partners and relationships is like not posting on social media, not being posted on social media.
That's a good one.
So
Okay.
it was turned to me as if it wasn't a big deal, when to me it was a big deal when I'm actually trying to like be a cheerleader and you know show my happiness and how proud I am of you, but how proud I am is being taken as doing too much. So piggybacking off of like having to address not being on like posted on social media, I was made to feel as if like they weren't doing it because all they post was like family oriented stuff or something, which nothing that I ever posted was like derogatory to the person's character or anything, so I never really understood. But once I learned things and addressed things later and came like stood on business, it was more so like they had no choice but to admit that, you know, I was doing this with a tactic to, because I was doing shit that I wasn't supposed to be doing the entire time. So it solidified why I was feeling the way I was feeling, and you confirmed that you really ain't have no reason not to. Pretty much immature. Admitting to your immaturity.
I mean, maybe they just didn't feel like putting that energy out into the world.
Yeah, that's
Well, say
okay.
that,
That's okay for that
she's
person.
saying that he admitted it. So
Yeah, that's okay if that was a thing, but if you're posting things that's pertaining to like work and to your family, but you're specifically not posting things pertaining to me,
You're
it's giving it's some intent behind it.
Absolutely.
It's not giving that you're trying to hide something for the world. That's BS.
Because
and I'm not
family?
buying it.
Exactly. Because are you not family? And I know y'all ain't married, but like,
Yeah, we're not married,
we
but
not
I'm not
working
doing
towards
anything. Like
something?
you're working towards, we're working towards something, but you're also working towards something. I'm cheering you on.
Exactly.
I'm expressing how proud I am of you. So there's no reason as to why you aren't sharing
Exactly.
or liking or
like, even if you're not posting, you're not even sharing
You're
what
not-
I'm sharing.
Exactly.
Exactly.
I understand what you're
Exactly.
saying.
You're not
I understand
even
what
you're
you're
not
saying.
even acknowledging
Wow.
my acknowledgement for you.
Yeah.
What's
Was
another red flag?
That's crazy.
Not being invited to stuff because I wasn't in the same capacity or I wasn't good enough to be in the space.
Wait.
They said that,
Back
or
it
you
up.
think that?
Because
Did they say that?
'Cause
or
I'm
you
trying
think
to-
that?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, this is I mean, saying it without saying it. Like, yeah, like you're not
what does that even
this
mean?
this event is for a certain particular type of people, and this is for these individuals, and you don't fit this criteria, or you don't have this same title. And if you were to go, then I would have to go out of my way to do this for you to attend. So no.
Oh
Cool.
no.
But that's cool. So instead of it being depression, it was more so I get where this is coming from.
Okay.
You know?
Okay.
So if this is how you feel and you can't defend me in this case, you're
That's
not
the
for
thing.
me.
Because like, what? You're supposed to be my man.
Yeah, you're not
You're
for
supposed to
me.
be a man. You're supposed to know how to lead and know how to guide. Yeah.
What
100%.
else? Twisting and
That is.
twisting and turning things that you would say into like something that was negative when it actually wasn't in a negative way, like delivered in a negative way. It was more so like, I see more in you and you should be doing, like I'm suggesting something, but not saying like you won't ever be something or you would never do this. Like interpreting something to be less than what.
Like you're trying to say something in a positive
In a
light.
positive way.
But they're like, oh, how dare you
Yeah.
say I'm not,
Yeah.
which is literally what you just said in the last was said to you.
Yeah.
Very crazy. Trying to twist and turn.
What else is another red
I think for
flag?
me, low key, and I think it goes back to them trying to learn everything about you. When you meet somebody and they just want you to divulge everything about yourself, they are asking you lots of questions, but they're never sharing anything about themselves.
Yep.
That is.
Or they overly share things about themselves to make them say they're more important
Right.
more important than who you are.
Ooh,
So
yes.
I'm doing this. I'm doing this.
oh,
I
yeah.
have this. I
That's just
have
boasting.
this. I'm a
I hate that.
That's just boasting.
But that's a narcissistic
disgusting
behavior.
Yeah, yeah, that's crazy.
Overly sharing information and
Yeah.
boasting about who you know, what you do, what you have.
Crazy.
That's
And to Bree's point, now it's circling back with Bree's point and your point, because what my ex used to do specifically is would set up a scenario. Like Bree said, like she would tell me what people did to her in the past. So for instance, this is a prime example, a story of a breakup that she had with a young lady and how she was treated. And then I'm seeing it mimic in our situation. I'm like, wait, but this is what you said she did to you either. Or like another example, like she's literally saying verbatim, this is what this person did to me. But then I'm seeing it show up where she's doing it to me. And I'm like, okay, that's interesting. And the second thing is,
Like, but did she know that did she recognize it, or it just was flowing that she didn't even realize?
I guess she didn't realize it. I'm gonna give her the benefit of the doubt and say she didn't. The other thing though that I had to make her aware of is there was a situation where a young lady she was dealing with broke up with her, ghosted her. This is what she's saying. Oh, she just unfollowed me on all my social media. Da 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 da. And so every time I wanted to disconnect with her and try to break up, I felt this guilt about doing that because of what this other person did to me, even though my reasons might have been valid. You know, there may have been something where I needed to disconnect. It wasn't healthy for me anymore, but I felt bad about doing it because of what was done to her prior. She told me that a girl had slammed a door in her face one time and she was just trying to talk to her and get closure. And so every time we would have this moment and I tried to create space, she's showing up at my door and I didn't want to close the door on her, you know? It's like so manipulative. And I'm just, it's beautiful that we can have this conversation and learn from it. I hate
look
that
back at things. That
I hate that we had to experience that.
Yeah, because it's detrimental to.
Yeah.
It's detrimental, but it's also allowed you the opportunity to see things earlier and sooner for what it is, and to call bullshit when it's bullshit.
Facts.
Earlier.
Facts.
Yeah, it's definitely harmed me. In a sense to where like it's really hard trusting people, and I'm more so now and it's a combination of experiencing narcissistic behavior, narcissism, whatever, and it's a combination of going to therapy. So now I'm also more trying to figure out, where was your mind state, like what were you thinking in this moment when you said this, or what was going through your mind when you said this? Why did you feel the need to say this? Like, I'm questioning to the point to that extent.
That was good. Thank you
hell
for
of a
bringing
deep
that
dive
up.
for
That
me.
was great. Okay, I mean, I don't know if y'all. I don't know how to even follow up from that. I'm gonna be honest.
I don't
She
have
closed
a-
I think that was it. Okay, y'all let us know what y'all think.
On that note,
We out.
Peace.
Bye now.
Ghetto Games Podcast.